Hello students! Previously, we learned that water is a very precious resource. Although it is renewable, we are facing various water problems. A major one being water scarcity. We saw some reasons for it as well. Let us continue with the last one. Another major reason for water scarcity is irrigation methods. As we know, irrigation refers to the process of supplying water to crops artificially. Mostly, it is done either by constructing dams, canals, or diversions to the natural flow of streams, or by extracting the groundwater through pumps and motors. India is the world's biggest groundwater user, extracting 251 billion cubic meters of groundwater in 2010. This is huge as compared to the 112 billion cubic meters of groundwater extracted by the United States. If we go back in history, irrigation methods like dams, tanks, and canals have been used in various parts of India since ancient times. This is not something new that we have done. But these were always managed by local people. They managed them in such a way that their minimum requirements for both agriculture and daily needs were met throughout the year. Due to their immense knowledge and experience accumulated over decades, they planned and regulated available water very nicely. Thus, they designed optimum cropping patterns based on the water availability in their region. And these resources were never exploited but well utilized at that time. But modern methods of irrigation exclude this experience and knowledge, and hence creates a dry regions due to exploitation of water. Let me give you one example. There is one river stream flowing near this area. Suppose a barrier or a diversion is created here in the flow of the stream for irrigation of water demanding crops like rice. Now, what will happen here in this region? Yes, this creates a dry regions downstream here. Thus, causes artificial water scarcity for the people in these areas. Now, against this modern day planning of irrigation, let us look at the very age-old method of irrigation. Since we are talking about the management of irrigation by local people, let us see one well-known example of involvement of local people in irrigation and water conservation. Yes, I am talking about schools in Himachal Pradesh. It is an example of the judicious use of water at the community level. They diverted natural streams into man-made channels called pools. Just like the diversion was created in the river stream in modern methods, schools took this water to numerous villages down the hillside. One important thing to understand here is that the management of water flowing in the schools was done by common agreement among all the villages, that is local people. Interestingly, during the planting season, water was first used by the village farthest away from the source of the pools, and then by the villages progressively higher up. This is because if the villages nearby used up all the water, the farther areas would not get any water either. And since they were far away, they had no other source either. This would create water scarcity for them. In addition to irrigation, water from these pools also percolated into the soil and fed springs at various points. This would recharge the groundwater levels and thus help to preserve and store water naturally. Isn't it a brilliant management of water as compared to modern day irrigation methods? Yes, it is. Definitely. Not only this, even the development of modern day large scale projects like large dams and canals traversing large distances neglected the local irrigation methods. It indeed took over the control of local water sources, which were then managed by local people, and thus created artificial water scarcity in such regions, just due to mismanagement and exploitation of these resources. So far, we have talked about how water is an important resource and its scarcity is created. We also said that the development of large scale projects like large dams and canals have created a lot of problems. But how? We know that dams are very useful in terms of economic progress and canal irrigation or generation of electricity. So then how do they have other effects? How have they harmed us? Think about it. I will see you in the next video.